All right, Flash episode 10. I mean, no, 12. Flash episode 12. Memorabilia. This episode was actually it's pretty interesting, yet equally disappointing. Uh it does touch up on a lot of things that needed to be addressed and a lot of things that needed to be caught up on, and it just sort of rushes through them though, such as Iris West throughout this episode. I'll just explain what's going on with her. Early into the episode, she mentions that she's her blog's picking up speed or whatever. It's picking up in popularity, and she can actually have a chance to get acquire a paper and hire her own staff and all that. Start the paper that is the paper that addresses the disappearance of Flash down the line in the future. And later in the episode, Flash walks in there coming off a call. She was looking for paper names and stuff, but she only came up with one, which is the Central City Citizen. And you can see the wary on her face. She doesn't want that name because that means that if she goes with that name, it's going to lead to that future where Barry disappears. Uh, she doesn't address that with Barry right away. She addresses that later with him, addresses her concerns and doubts about, and that's why she doesn't want to get the paper, but he encourages her to get it, and she does acquire it, and they kind of celebrate there at the end with the toast of her acquiring the property. But all that felt very rushed because we haven't really got to see all that stuff with Iris fleshed out. We haven't really seen a whole lot of that type of stuff since like season one and season two. It's mostly been put on the far back burner as they try to make Iris a leader of Team Flash or whatever. Anyways, aside from that, there were a lot of great moments in here. I thought the opening, like skating rink scene was pretty cool and adorable with them trying to teach their daughter how to ice skate. That I saw her as a little kid right there, and a really good family moment. But the bigger moments of this, well, I might as well take care of the Ralph and Cisco subplot. So Ralph and Cisco kind of go off on their own. Cisco gets Ralph gets Cisco, talks him into going to this bar, trying to meet a contact about cicada or whatever, and that there's actually a pretty good joke there. Bob vibes on something, and it turns out that the cicada the biker dude is talking about is a metal band. So and that's just funny because the biker guy's like, well, what? They do assault people every night with their terrible music. So that was pretty funny. And then Cisco didn't exactly figure it out. He got butthurt because he thought that uh, that Ralph just brought him there as a wingman because he found out it's ladies' night, and he knew up front that the whole cicada lead was a bust. Uh, that all that gets kind of clarified, gets cleared up. Ralph brought him there because he wanted him to, try with another woman or whatever. And Cisco's been very hell bent on curing his abilities, his curing metas, and for Ralph, being a meta is something special. For Cisco, it's not anymore for some reason. I don't know why, but anyways, Cisco ends up hitting it off after him and Ralph like split up. He ends up hitting it off with the chick there. I don't know if that chick has any importance. I can't even remember her name. But the episode kind of ends with Cisco when he's talking to that woman. Something hits him that he can use twins, siblings, non-meta and meta to figure out how to cure metas. So he tells that to Barry and Ralph at the end of the episode. But other than that, for the most part of the episode, it was really interesting. They go into this dream world. Uh, there's a Mad Hatter Easter egg. Sherlock assembles everybody and tells them that he's acquired this tech from like Earth 2020, I think, or something, 2021. And he mentions the Mad Hatter and all this thing. And also another Easter egg, Sherlock and Holmes. But, well, no, Sherlock and Watson, I mean, bet his name's Watson. Basically, Sherlock had this friend that was a partner, and he went in that partner's mind, and he discovered that partner was having an affair with one of his wives at the time. And what eventually happened to Watson is he ended up with his brain fried on a table or something like that to that effect because he couldn't get out of his own head. That's why you take two people into you. Once using this tech, you take two people in with you into somebody else's memories. When they're talking about going into the memories, though, uh, you can see it instantly hit Nora. She's scared that they're going to see her memories. They're going to find out that she's in league. And Sherlock knows this. He knows this. He's playing it. And it's very funny to see how he's going about this, all coy and stuff. So Nora kind of freaks out and tries to do the thing on her own, despite the fact Sherlock was trying to get her and Barry to go in there together. Uh, but while everybody else is away, Nora goes in to the little girl's mind, Grace, and she tries to help Grace. Grace is stuck at the police station. Uh, they can't find a way out. The portal disappears. They end up trapped there. The Dreamland's kind of cool and interesting to look at. But they go to the house or apartment or whatever where she gets really scared because they encounter Cicada. But it's just normal cicada, not like killer cicada, just the man, Orland, and he's cooking all these pancakes up and stuff, and he's very loving, and Grace is just all happy in this moment, and Nora kind of she sees that little dollhouse. I don't know what kind of relevance that's in. Oh yeah, well the relevance it has. She looking at that dollhouse, and she later on when they're out of dream world, she sketches the whole house, the interior of where they live, and uh, well, later on though, Cicada starts coming after her as she's trying to get Grace out of there, and Grace, she finds out that Grace kind of goes like Raven on her, just goes dark side. Like she's been able to hear everything the whole time she's been in her coma, and she knows that Nora and Barry have attacked her father. I don't know if she really understands what it. She thinks that and like he's taking out the metas, the bad people that kill their parents, and that's all there is to that. It's very black and white for her, but Nora tries to explain to her that they're trying to stop her father, and that doesn't really work because she just goes dark side. Six cicada on Nora, and Nora's on the run for her life. Iris and Barry, they have to go in to Grace's mind, but they end up in Nora's mind, and they get to see all this crazy stuff like the Flash Museum, full of all kinds of action figures, bobbleheads, comics, actual cicada comic. It's just really interesting. Flash is all Barry's just like geeking out about all this, and he gets to see young Nora, and he's like, "This may be the only chance I get to see her like this at this age or whatever." Uh, and young Nora's just there with her Flash action figure and stuff. She goes into the villain section, and they now hear that things have changed in the future because the cicada it's talking about now is the cicada that they've created in the past. It's Orlin, and you see all the little Easter egg things in there, like the trickster, the reverse flash, all those little spots that we've seen before. Flash forward to the museum, but in here, they also encounter an older Iris who comes in here, and she's just mad at her daughter, and she like jerks on her. The Flash toy breaks, and she doesn't care that the Flash toy breaks. That was the only part that was really rude about it, is that she didn't care that the Flash toy got broke. Her daughter's Flash toy. She was mad at her daughter for being there. Her daughter said she wanted to be there because she said that her dad was because Iris told her that her dad was the Flash's biggest fan, and he always went there. At this point in time, she doesn't know her dad's the Flash. But also, I found it pretty interesting. Iris mentioned that she would run away to like she. Barry mentioned that he would run away from home, and she was like, "Yeah, that was to go see your dad." And you know that's really related to what Nora was doing here. But you know, Iris, older Iris or whatever, that didn't actually look older. That future Iris or whatever, she just looked like regular Candace Patton. She only came off rude in the sense that she broke her daughter's toy, but otherwise she just seemed like a concerned mother. I could see it from a child, from Nora's child's perspective, where she sees her mom as the bad guy, but I can also see it from Iris's perspective. I got two kids myself, so uh anyways, that Iris's reaction is like, "Oh God, I'm such a terrible mother," and Barry's like, "No, no, that's not you. That's not who you're gonna become. We can change things. We're changing things and all that." You heard that about Cicada, and we find out that Cicada's killed like I can't remember if it's like 250 or 150, but he like resurfaces after the Flash disappears. They also mentioned something in their Red Death. I'm not familiar with that. That's probably got some comic book importance that I'm not familiar with. Uh, but the thing to mention here is that going into the brain, like it can treat the other people in the brain like pathogen, like try to reject them, put up a defense mechanism, try to keep them from the portal, and that's essentially what's happened with Cicada chasing Nora all over the place. And now the Reverse Flash suit wakes up and tries to go after Iris and Barry, and they Caitlin manages to call them with her head device. I can't remember what it's called, but she tries to get them all connected together and get them out of the way. And they end up all teaming up. They end up all getting back together right when things are about to get real bad for Nora. And there's just no really saving grace. That's kind of funny. No pun intended. But they all have to like get the hell out of there. So Nora, Iris, and Barry, they get out of there, and when they get out of there, Sherlock's got some interesting questions, and he asked Flash, who'd you see there? He asked Flash privately, what was Nora's defense mechanism? Because Nora in this episode is very concerned, but so far, Sherlock is the only one suspicious of Nora at all. I think there was a little like, why? What the hell? Why is this Nora's defense mechanism to Barry? Because the Reverse Flash suit attacking him, that was a little off-putting for him. But it didn't seem like it really ignited any real suspicion. But Sherlock's hot on her trail. And this episode opened with her like sending a message to Eoborthon through Gideon. She mentioned how she feels like she's betraying her parents and stuff. So you can see she's just not overly stupid about this, and she's not just like bad. She she has her doubts about what she's doing. Uh, that's pretty much it. I thought it was really disappointing because I thought for sure that they were going to get Grace out of there, but they couldn't save Grace. They couldn't get her. I don't know why they couldn't just drag her with them out of there. Uh, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. So it was disappointing that they couldn't save Grace, so they couldn't wrap up the whole cicada thing. Uh, and a huge disappointment is that even going into Nora's brain, they didn't really learn anything about her connections. So it's still a slow build, a slow burn. Um, those things were very disappointing. One big revelation, though, is that Grace, maybe a meta herself, or maybe the nurse is a meta, but there was like that spot lit up on her head, and that's where it all started. There with Orland in the hospital, when he was there with Grace. So, I mean, maybe she's the driving force behind Cicada. I don't know. But she wants them punished by Cicada. And it's very dark the way she talks about it. But I'm also wondering, maybe it's the nurse having an effect on her state of mind because she's her like caretaker and she's always the one telling Cicada like you need to go after these metas like she's the boss of him or something. You need to get back on track. I mean, what's her real driving motivation? Why does a nurse care so damn much? I don't remember her saying anything that would lead her to. I don't know, but that's interesting. That's something to speculate on. Anyways, I'd give this episode probably like a 6 out of 10. It was good, and the dream world stuff was really interesting, but I didn't get what I wanted out of it. The Mad Hatter Easter egg, the mention of Mad Hatter, that was pretty badass. I really enjoyed that. Makes me wonder if he's going to show up on the Batwoman show that they're supposed to be doing that spinoff. But pretty good episode. Not overly good. It's kind of mixed bag because I didn't get what I wanted out of it. No resolution with the whole saving grace, and no real strong awareness for any of the other characters about Nora's connections with Reverse Flash. Just Sherlock hot on her trail and Cisco figuring out that he can cure this with twins, figuring out that he can cure metas with twins. I don't know what route they're going to go. And I don't know if the little girl's just flat out evil and needs to be cured, if she's the driving force behind Cicada, or if the nurse is actually the driving force behind Cicada and the little girl. I don't know. Anyways, uh, like, subscribe, stay awesome, rock on.